No matter how good we are, we can still be better. We can always be better. You have enough right now to change your life. You have enough right now to flip this world upside down. You have enough. You got enough power. You got enough anointing. You got enough grace. You got enough patience. You got enough gifting to make your money, get out of debt, get yourself together, and change everything about your world. If somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company. We know that a great life doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. If you outwork everybody, if you try to be a little smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance. I need you to fight. I see you sitting at your desk and you're doing work and you really want to go home. But no, you got to fight. Come on. I see you trying to grow your business and get clients while promoting it. You're working hard to make it successful. Keep going. I had everyone telling me I could never be an entrepreneur. They said I was foolish for leaving my plan to be a doctor. They thought I was wasting all my parents' hard work for me. So I had to put in the effort. One hard fact about life is that success takes time. This is what the best entrepreneurs do. They have a drive to create and bring new ideas to the world. Starting a business is tough. You have to put in a lot of effort. In the beginning, I was working non-stop, 7 days a week, never took a break, and never spent money. You really have to be ready to work. So why don't we learn about money in school? He looked at me and said it's because the government won't let us teach that subject. If you want to win, fight for your future. You need to get ready for the hard work ahead. Do you want to start your own business? Take the chance and do it. I enjoy that risk. I love the whole process. If that's not for you, that's okay. An entrepreneur needs to understand money, or they are not really entrepreneurs. An employee doesn't need to know much about money. There is a difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A champion thinks differently. Hustlers think differently too. The hustler mindset asks, how can this challenge become my chance? What can I learn from it? When you discover your passion, it's a wonderful gift because it gives you direction and purpose. You can have a job, a career, or a calling. Having a calling is the best. You can't skip any steps. You need to move one step at a time. Good things take time. There are no easy ways, but you should do these steps with energy and strength. To achieve many goals, you must understand how the world and money work, and you also need to gather people to help you build something. Most people don't think about that. They don't put in the effort. They don't learn. It's very tough to get people to make brave choices. Now is the moment to take chances. I urge you to take risks now. Try something bold. You won't regret it. You all will find that you have interests, and having an interest is a gift. I believe we all have interests, and you don't choose them. They choose you. But you need to be aware of them. You have to be looking for them. When you find your interest, it's a wonderful gift for you because it gives you direction and purpose. You can have a job, a career, or a calling, and the best thing is to have a calling. If you find your interest, you'll have that, and all your work won't feel like work. Many kids and adults figure out their interests over time, but sometimes we let our thinking side take over those interests. That's what we need to protect against. One of my jobs as the leader of Amazon is to encourage people to be brave. People often focus on things that aren't working yet, and that's okay. It's human nature. That kind of dissatisfaction can be helpful. However, it's really hard to get people to take brave risks, and you need to support that. If you're going to take brave risks, they will be experiments, and you won't know ahead of time if they will work. Experiments often fail, but big successes can make up for many things that did not work. Bold bets like AWS, Kindle, and Amazon Prime are examples of things that succeeded. These successes help cover many of my failed experiments. I have had billions of dollars in failures at Amazon.com, really billions. You might remember Pets.com or Cosmo, or even the time I thought giving myself a root canal without anesthesia would be easier. None of those were fun, but they don't matter much. What matters is that companies that do not keep experimenting and do not accept failure end up in a tough spot. They can only make a last-ditch effort at the end of their time. But companies that keep making bets, even big ones, are in a better place. I don't believe in big, risky bets. That's when you're in trouble. That's the last choice you should make. You need to be flexible and strong. So you have to be ready for challenges. You also need to be fast and creative, trying new things quickly. That's the best way to face the future. You have to keep moving towards the future. If you move away from the future, it will always win. Never, ever lean away from the future. We all face tough times in our lives. I wonder if you really know someone, any friend, or anyone you talk to. There is always some struggle, and that's good because it teaches us how to stand up again. You fall down, you get back up. It always happens. You get certain gifts in life, and you want to make the most of them. My advice on struggle and success would be to be proud not of your gifts, but of your hard work and your choices. You might have gifts, like being good at math, which might come easily to you. That is a gift, but practicing that math and taking it further can be tough and take a lot of effort. That is a choice. You can't really be proud of your gifts since they were given to you. You can be thankful for them. But your choices, like choosing to work hard and do tough things, are what really matter. Those are choices you can be proud of. Being an inventor is hard because the world is very complex. You need to be an expert in your field. Even if you start without knowledge, you must learn enough to become an expert. But the problem is that once you are an expert, you can get stuck in that knowledge. Inventors have this unique skill to combine many hours of practice and true expertise with a fresh outlook. They can see things in a new way, even with their deep understanding. That balance is crucial for inventing. You need both parts. I believe we all have this ability and can achieve it, but we must be deliberate. You have to commit to becoming an expert while keeping a beginner's mindset. You can't rush. You need to take things step by step. Good things take time. There are no easy paths. You want to do those steps with energy and drive. It's easy to think of ideas. It's very hard to make an idea into a good product. There are many steps in between, and it takes hard work and determination. So I always tell people who want to be entrepreneurs that you need a mix of strong will and flexibility. You have to know when to be which. You should stick to your vision because otherwise, it will be too easy to quit. But you also need to be open to changing the details because as you follow your vision, you'll see that some of your ideas were wrong. You will need to adjust things. So I believe taking an idea all the way to the market and turning it into a real product that matters to people and helps improve their lives is a lot of hard work. Don't try to chase what is just popular right now. I think we really saw this a lot in different areas, especially online. At the height of the internet excitement in 1999, many people felt strongly about something and left their jobs to work on the internet, kind of like the 1849 gold rush. If you look back at the gold rush, you'll see that many people near California, even if they were doctors, stopped their jobs and tried to find gold. This almost never works out. Even if you do find success in some way, I think it may still leave you feeling empty. So, it's important to be honest with yourself. I think one of the best ways to do this is to imagine yourself at age 80, looking back at your life and trying to have as few regrets as possible. This idea can help with job choices and family choices. I have a 14-month-old son, and when I think about being 80, I know I want to see him grow up. I don't want to be 80 and feel like I missed out on his life or wish I had a better relationship with him. So, if you think this way, I would suggest that people always look at the long-term picture. There's a lot of debate about this. Many people, and I'm not one of them, think you should just focus on the present. I think what you do is think about the long time ahead of you and make sure you plan in a way that will make you happy. This is how it works for me. Everyone needs to find what works for them. There are many ways to find happiness, and you need to choose one that fits you. Do rich people get upset and say, "Don't tell them that, Robert"? Yes, yes, yes. Don't share what you know. Keep them poor. My dad was the head of education with a PhD and all that. I went home and asked him, "Why don't we learn about money in school?" He looked at me and said, "Because the government won't let us teach that subject." The government decides what we can teach. He got upset and said, if I learn about money, why not ask your best friend's dad? I said, why? That's Mike. He asked, why ask him? He said, because Mike's dad is a business owner. I asked, what are you? He said, I'm a worker. I'm a government worker. I said, oh, what's the difference? He said, an owner has to know about money, or they won't stay an owner. He said a worker doesn't need to know much about money, because the government will help them, the company will help them. So I'm just a kid, feeling confused. I listened to my dad's advice and went to Mike's dad's office. I knocked on the door and said, hey, I'm 9 years old. Teach me about money. He told me to go away. But that's how the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad began. After a while, my rich dad agreed to teach me about money if I followed one rule. He would never pay me. He said that once I got paid, I would think like an employee. He told me that entrepreneurs work for free. At 9 years old, I was confused. He said I should never want a paycheck. I replied, okay, I understand. He asked, how can I make money? He said that's what business people learn. So how do I understand money? He would take out a Monopoly game board. I worked for free, picking up cigarette butts. He had hotels and restaurants that I cleaned and did small jobs for. As I grew older, I started doing office work, marketing, and accounting. I was basically an apprentice, but I always worked for free. He would teach me about money, but he did it through Monopoly. One day, I got frustrated and asked, when will you teach me about money? He replied, what do you think we are doing? We're playing Monopoly. I said, I don't know. He told me, I'm teaching you about money. Then he explained, you have one greenhouse, and he mentioned there are many ways to achieve great success and make money. There are many of them, but one of the best is found in the game of Monopoly. It still is today. For greenhouses, one red hotel. I asked what? He said, one of the best ways to get rich is playing Monopoly in real life. For greenhouses, one red hotel. Is that all? He said, that's it. And he asked, what do you think I'm doing? I said, I don't know. Then he took me out and showed me his greenhouses. 10 years later, when I was 19, I was in school in New York and came back to Hawaii. Rich Dad had bought the biggest piece of land right in the middle of Waikiki Beach. When you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That was his hotel. Just like the game of Monopoly. Just like the game of Monopoly. He bought assets, and they grew into bigger ones. He just kept what is called an assemblage because that property wasn't big at the time. So he had to buy out all the small owners. Waikiki was a small, run-down town. So he bought out one shop owner, then another. It took time, but he finally put together a big piece of land. Then he and Hyatt built a huge hotel. It just sold for $800 million. That's how I learned about money. I've faced financial failures and had people betray me. But it's all okay because I learned from it. That's spirituality. People who fear making mistakes, like what schools teach, don't grow because spirituality has good and bad. There's right and wrong. There's up and down. Most people just want to be right. They only want to be happy. But you can't have that. That's not real. I wasn't poor by many people's views, but my family had a poor mindset. You see, being rich, poor, or middle class starts with how you think. Poverty is learned from your family, and so is middle class. People today who are at home, struggling with money or feeling sad about it, might be making good money but still feel bad about their work. This mindset was likely taught to you. You were probably told to get a job and work hard or that rich people are bad. Schools don't teach you about money. They prepare you to be an employee, which is good, or a doctor or a lawyer, but not about money. What many people miss is real business knowledge, like how to manage money, debt, and taxes. You need to know these things, but schools don't teach them to anyone. So, when people ask me how my rich dad learned this while my poor dad, who has a PhD, didn't, the answer is simple. My rich dad, who is my best friend's father, lost his dad when he was just 13. So, he had to run the family business at that young age and had to leave school, which was actually a good thing for him. You know, sometimes good things don't seem good at first, but they turn out to be. His teachers became his bookkeeper, accountant, lawyer, banker, and real estate agents. So, he learned from real teachers, not the fake ones in school. Most school teachers don't practice what they teach. I once asked a teacher during my 3rd year of calculus, which was called strength of materials, if I would ever use this stuff. He said no. I asked him why he taught it, and he said, I get paid. I asked him if he ever uses it. He said no. That's why I tell people, in life, it's important to find a real teacher, not a fake one. A fake teacher is someone who doesn't practice what they teach. A real teacher practices what they teach every day. My accountants and attorneys work with me daily, so I learn from them as I solve problems in my business. I have accountants, attorneys, and bankers on speed dial to help my team and me. I see you sharing this knowledge. And yes, some wealthy people might cringe and say, don't tell them that, Rob. They want to keep people in the dark, but sadly, just like in the Bible, the poor will always be with us. It starts in the mind. It's a mindset of fear, and those words shape their reality. When they say, I can't afford that, or I can't do that, they limit themselves. My dad with a PhD would say, what do you think I am, made of money? I can't afford that. My rich dad would say that's why he is poor. Poor people say, I can't pay for it. I can't do that. I don't have time because this is a way to escape. It's an escape. You know what I mean? It's easy to say, I can't pay for it. But your rich dad would say something different instead of, I can't pay for it. He would ask, how can I pay for it? How can I do that? What would it take, or why should I do that? He says, a question opens your mind, but a statement closes it. So when you say I can't pay for it, your mind shuts down and you become what you say. Rugby is a team sport, but so is soccer. The roles are different. Some people are golfers. They play alone. Everyone is different. My game in finance is business first. Second is real estate. So I tell young people to find their game. Out of all the reasons out there, and I've read your book with the 10 keys to success, what do you think is the main reason people fail? Not why they succeed, but the opposite. Lack of brains. Lack of effort? Yes, they just don't do the work or learn. When you enter a room or start a business, you're never alone with no competition, unless you're really lucky. If there's competition, it means someone else knows your business just as well as you do when you start. If you walk into a tough market and they know more about the business and customers than you, you're going to lose. But many people don't think about that. They don't put in the work. They don't learn about their field. They don't even know about their business. You have to work hard to learn more about your field than anyone else. That's both using your mind and putting in the effort. If you're going up against me, you need to really know what you're doing. If not, I'm going to win. You can't outwork me. This mix of things is often what brings down businesses early on. I mentioned before about whether entrepreneurs are born or made, and I believe I was just meant to be excited about business. How or why? I'm not sure. But some people are naturally great at sports, right? Some people have the skills and discipline when they play golf. You know, Dirk may not be the best player in the NBA, but his hard work and focus on what it takes to succeed are impressive. When you mix that with being 7 feet tall and skilled, it makes him a great basketball player. It's all about knowing your skills, finding the right place to use them, and going for it. Will that earn you $250,000? It depends on your choice of industry. But no matter what field you choose, if you outwork everyone, try to be smarter, be a better seller, and be better prepared, you'll have a good chance. If you don't put in the effort and someone else does, remember my saying, work like someone is trying to take everything from you. I believe in working like someone is spending all their time trying to take it away from you. That's how I see things. I started my first business when I was 12. I bought and sold baseball cards and stamps, anything I could do to make money. I was always working hard to earn some cash. I liked business, but not all my friends were into it too. They wouldn't care about baseball cards. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and even before I was 12, I would buy a lot of baseball cards to collect. I would package them and say, you will get a Pittsburgh Pirate in this pack, and I charged 3 times the price. I set up on a park bench in Scott Township where I grew up and sold them there. It was fun. I made money. For some people, if you are so driven that you can take an online accounting course and learn it all, you are ahead of the game. But most people aren't. I don't care if you go to a community college and take an accounting class that costs $99. Just paying for it makes you more committed to doing it. Accounting, finance, and to a lesser degree, marketing and sales are what the school teaches. These are the basics of business. You can teach yourself these skills or pay someone else, but when you start your own business, you don't want to spend money on an accountant. If you take these classes, you likely won't need a lawyer to set up your company. You can probably handle it by yourself. So, your costs to start a business go down. But even more than that, this is the basic stuff. The most important thing I learned at Indiana was how to learn. Learning became much more valuable to me. The one thing we know for sure in business is that it will always change. If you're not always learning, even right now, if I'm not learning all the time, if I'm not taking in as much as I can, someone else will beat me. So, when you think about being worried, the biggest reason to worry should be knowledge. If someone knows more than you and you're not learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't want to learn and get new information, you're in trouble. So, imagine if we have 10 guys here, and you talk to them for a few minutes. You could tell pretty quickly who won't succeed as an entrepreneur. I can usually tell, right? I can see it in their passion, their focus, and their preparation. There are many factors in any business. Here's the business you're in, and there are many things that can affect your success. From my experience in business, I can imagine how he feels and say, okay, here are 900 out of 1,000 things he needs to know. I can then ask how many of those issues they have already handled. That gives me an idea of how hard they are willing to work. I can also tell by the questions they ask me. I just need to say, okay, what do you want to know? When they start asking, what should I do? That's fine, and I want them to ask questions. People often say the only dumb questions are the ones you don't ask, but that's not true. The questions you ask show me, and others, more about you than anything else. It especially shows me how prepared you are. If you ask me about basic things you should already know, that will almost disqualify you more than anything else. Do you think it's good to be a little paranoid? Oh, definitely. It's important. I always say, for every business I have, I ask myself, what would I do to mess it up? You're right. In any business, someone wants to take your spot. It's smart to know how they might try to do it before they actually do. So, yes, that's being paranoid. You need to think about what others will do next. You can't ignore the competition. I was at a business plan contest at a college this morning. They were acting like the competition wasn't a big deal. You can't do that. They want to beat you. They won't just sit back. If you're really good at what you do, you'll push them to work harder, faster, and better. You need to be aware of your strengths and what others are good at, and a bit of worry can help you. How can one business owner speed up their growth? There are some things you can't control. How fast can I grow my business? It really depends. You need to understand your skills and how they fit with your company's stage. Some businesses grow slowly, and you have to accept that. You should wait until things start to work and then grow quickly. If you want to launch a product that everyone needs, you must move fast and get it out there. Many people say that trying to make everything perfect can hurt your profits. That doesn't mean you should wait for the product to be perfect. It really depends on what the product is for a barbershop, right? Is it an app? Is it a service? Is it a product? But the main point is to find the easy wins. What are the things that customers will pay for or commit to so they can use it in their daily lives or in their business? Getting a commitment, either through time or money, is usually what I look for. If I can get a commitment, I can learn from it. I will see how they use it. Do they keep using it? Then when I get the next one, hopefully it comes faster than the first. Then I can ask for referrals. And then the next one. I just try to grow it. When I bought the Mavs, we had no season ticket holders. So, it was really just about having a list of old season ticket holders and a phone book on my desk. I made calls myself because if I don't do it, how can I expect others to? I'd just pick up the phone and say, hey, This is Mark, the new owner of the Dallas Mavericks. I want to invite you back for a game. This is my business, and I know we need to get more sales. Once I reach a certain point, sure, I'm a billionaire making these calls. But that's okay because everyone has their own goals. Still, I don't want anyone at the Mavs to say I'm not willing to work hard. If I see trash, I pick it up instead of telling someone else to do it. So, when it comes to growing fast, you need to get that first customer first. After you get that first one, think about what you learned. Keep going to get the next customer. As you learn more, getting the next one should happen faster. What we know is that life doesn't get easier. It doesn't get kinder. We just get stronger and tougher. I've seen that many people are excited, but not many can keep going. The race isn't won by the strong or the fast, but by those who keep going until the end. I know we've all faced some challenges in our lives. Everyone listening has dealt with some kind of pain. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants good things to happen. Everyone wants better relationships and a better life. But nobody wants to cut out the distractions. Nobody wants to vanish for 3 months, for months, or 6 months, and cut out all distractions to focus only on themselves. What if you could block out every distraction? What if you could ignore the world for a while and just work on you? A person gets praised in public for what they do when no one is watching. The reason you don't see results, the reason it hasn't happened yet, and the reason you feel so upset is that you haven't been ready to give up what you need to give up and to put in the effort behind closed doors. Sure, you can talk about it. Sure, you can plan it. Sure, you can write it down. Sure, you can attend the conference and learn about it. You can read about it. But at some point, you must step away, do the work, and come back to surprise everyone who doubted you. Some of you don't even see that you have unfinished tasks. You need to return to where you stopped with a fresh outlook. Go back to the gym. Go back to where it all started. Go back to your work. Go back to your friendships. Go back to the tough situation where you still have things to do. All you need is a new plan and a fresh way of looking at things. You have things to finish and tasks to complete. What do you do when how you see things is very different from what is real? If you want to give, grow, and change, everything depends on how you see it. Your viewpoint is very important. Let's go. I need you to listen closely. How you see this is very important. You can't change what happened, but you can change how you think about it. Your way of seeing things is your strength. Your view can change everything. Everyone wants more and better lives and new places to live. But you only read once a week and work out once or twice a month. The reason you don't have what you want, why what you imagine isn't in your hands, is that your view is against your ability. You don't have it because you don't see its worth. If you think you are meant to make a difference, change the game, or improve the room, then everything you do, everything you notice, depends on how you see things. How do you view this? When we get stuck in fear, because we have failed in some way, fear brings friends. One of fear's main friends is doubt. Doubt stops more dreams than failure ever will. Some people have given up in their minds before they even try. So I invite you to let go of fear. Failure is just a chance to start over. If you really want a better future, all you need is a chance to try again. Failing doesn't make you a failure. It's something you did, not who you are. We need to understand that if I failed, then I can succeed. I'm speaking to that football team, that baseball team, that basketball team. I'm talking to that fighter, that track star, that athlete, that student, and the person who keeps failing their exam. I'm talking to anyone who feels hopeless and thinks they've tried everything. If you are still breathing, you have more to give. Thomas Edison was fired from his first 2 jobs, and his teachers called him stupid, saying he couldn't learn. This is the man who created the light bulb after failing 1,000 times. But he was never a failure. He just found 1,000 ways that don't work. You have no time to say this. You didn't try 1,000 times. Try 1,000 times. Then come talk to me and say you're not enough. Tell me you don't have what it takes. Tell me you're foolish. Tell me you're slow. Tell me you don't have enough. Whatever pushed you down, whatever made you fall, from that place I want you to face it. Tell that person, tell that situation, tell whatever it is that made you fall. You can't keep me here. If you want to learn about staying strong, we need to stop running from hard times. Stop hoping the storm will pass and hope to grow through the storm. You need strength and energy to reach your goals. You won't make $1 million with your first investment. You won't always hit a home run on the first try. But being strong means you know you belong and you want another chance. Give me my chance. SpaceX's lack of experience and $1.6 billion was a risk to safety. They spoke against commercial space travel. I wish they could see the work we're doing here. I think that would change their minds. Those people are my heroes. There are many more ways to fail than to succeed. For a rocket, there are 1,000 ways it can fail and 1 way it can succeed. You might have many rocket failures. The first stage is the liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket. What I'm trying to do is make a big change in space travel and help make it available to almost everyone. There should be reasons to get up in the morning. You know, life can't just be about fixing problems. Otherwise, what's the point? There have to be things that inspire people and make life worth living. If someone is doing something helpful for others, I think that's great. It doesn't have to change the world. If you're doing something that matters to people, that's fine. Things don't need to change the world to be good. If you want to do well, especially when starting a business, you have to work really hard. If you do simple math, you can see that if someone else works 50 hours and you work 100, you'll get twice as much done in a year as that other business. I can be a bit impulsive, and I don't want to follow a typical CEO model. People often wish for things that may not happen. For entrepreneurs, it's hard to know the line between truly believing in your goals and chasing a dream that isn't realistic. It's tough to figure that out. Can you see the difference between the two? I think being focused on something you believe will really help others is important. You need to be strict in making that choice, and you have to be very determined. You must work hard, putting in 80 to 100 hours each week. It can be very tough and painful, but these efforts can increase your chances of success. I believe that if we can grow the world's knowledge, we can ask better questions and understand more. This is the way to move forward. Space is tough, and rockets often fail. Even with smart people trying to reduce failures, problems can still happen, and they can be serious. People wonder why rockets are so hard. Everything must work perfectly the first time. There are no do-overs or fixes. You have about 9 minutes to reach orbit, or it's over. You can never fully test a rocket in the same conditions it will face. You can only really recreate that in space. It is very hard and feels awful, but my team looks to me for support, so I try to help them, even though I feel bad. What does super hard mean? Well, when my brother and I started our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we rented a small office. We slept on the couch and showered at the YMCA. We were so tight on money that we only had one computer, so the website was up during the day, and I worked at night, 7 days a week. If other people work 40 hours a week and you work 100 hours a week, then even if you do the same job, you will reach in 4 months what takes them a year. When I was younger, I didn't know what I wanted to do. People asked me often, but then I thought inventing things could be fun. I felt this way because I read a quote from Arthur C. Clarke that said advanced technology feels like magic. This is true. If you go back about 300 years, the things we think are normal today would get you in big trouble. Like flying, which seems wild. Seeing far away, talking easily, and having the internet as a way to share ideas and find all the world's information anytime from almost anywhere. This is stuff that would seem like magic or was seen as magic long ago. In fact, I think it goes even further because there are many things we see as normal today that people in the past couldn't even dream of. They weren't even close to being magic. So it actually goes beyond that. I thought, if I could do some of those things, if I could improve technology, then that would be like magic, and that would be really awesome. I was going through a bit of a crisis because I was trying to understand what it all means, like what the purpose of everything is. I realized that if we can grow the knowledge of the world, if we can do things that broaden our understanding, then we can ask better questions and become wiser, and that's really the way forward. For any company, just keep asking, Are these efforts people are making leading to a better product or service? If they aren't, stop those efforts. Lastly, don't just go along with the trend. You might have heard me say that it's helpful to think like scientists when using basic ideas. Instead of just comparing things, you should break them down to the most basic truths and build your thoughts from there. This is a good way to see if something really makes sense or if it's just what everyone else thinks. It can be hard to think this way all the time, and it takes a lot of work. But if you're trying to do something new, it's the best way to go. This way of thinking was made by scientists to understand tricky things like quantum mechanics, so it's a really strong method. I also want to say that now is the time to take risks. You probably don't have big responsibilities, like kids, but as you get older, you will have more things to take care of. When you have a family, you start taking risks not only for yourself, but also for them. It becomes harder to try things that might not work. So now is the best time to take those chances before you have those responsibilities. I encourage you to be bold and take risks now. You might regret it later. Thank you. Not everything in Silicon Valley or any field needs to be seen as a big win or a big loss. It's silly to think that way, but it sells stories. So that's what you read. You can have an idea that doesn't improve your job or career, but can change your life, and that matters. Pick the right partner. The most successful people I know are divorced, and they say it wasn't worth it. Don't do it. Don't sacrifice your family. Treasure your children as your greatest achievements because they are. I created something that many of you use every day, but you don't know it. It's hidden in the company, but I know it and I know how it feels. And I'll tell you, it doesn't match holding that happy and healthy little hand every day. Also, don't hurt anyone to push your goals. Don't sue people and try to avoid being sued. You'll feel better at night. I've never been part of a lawsuit in my tech career, and I'm glad for that. My wife and I don't put work before our daughter or each other. Engineers in my company with families like mine and I have worked together for most of our careers. We don't waste time driving to offices. We don't invite each other for dinner. We don't have holiday parties. We get things done, and then we see our families. I believe you can hear the call of your lives without it leading to a crash, and I think that's worth sharing. I agreed to join a nonprofit board, my school board, and it changed my life. I learned about being a parent, teaching, and helping others, and what drives people. The Union of Concerned Scientists just predicted that almost 4,400 homes in Marin County will be underwater in less than 30 years because of rising sea levels. So, my generation and yours will need to take action. For now, I keep looking for ideas, like taking our daughter to school on an electric tandem bike. We count the cars that are stopped in traffic as we go by. We wave to them. They used to wave back, but now they seem a bit annoyed, so they don't. Still, it's something. It's something we can do. Maybe you have an idea to fight global warming, or maybe you want to help with poverty, or maybe you have thoughts on truth in news reporting. Or maybe you don't have any of those ideas, but you speak honestly from your heart to the person you will marry, and that could be inspiring. In a world that feels so different, my career path should be clear to you. This means you can do what I have done. You can live this life. You can find happiness in your job and your family. If you want the world to know your name, I support you. The world needs people like you. I wish you all the best. If you are ready to risk everything, go all in, and stand out, just remember my name is a backup plan. Don't follow the path that's there. Go where there is no path and create your